Hello and welcome to Study with Sudhir. My name is T.S. Sudhir, and after the last time when I discussed about the history and civics paper for ISC Class 10 students, there are many who were asking what about ISC English. So today in this video, very short video, I'm going to talk specifically about the Tempest. Okay. Now, the Tempest is one of the most significant plays, considered one of the best plays written by William Shakespeare. Many of you students may not agree. Okay, I know that. Okay, so let me talk about what should be the strategy and whether anything changes this year with the way you approach the Tempest. What I mean to say is that because the first semester examination, the board examinations for class 12 ISC is going to be in the MCQ format, whether you need to change your style of studying the Tempest in order to prepare yourself better for the MCQ format examination. And my answer to this question is yes. Though so far the council has not released any papers, so we have no idea about the way they will ask the questions, but the kind of questions that I have been preparing as part of the MCQs for students of the Tempest 12 course on Study with Sudhir app, it will give you an idea about how possibly you need to prepare yourself for the MCQ based semester 1 examination. So, what I want you to understand is that one, for those of you who are familiar with the Merchant of Venice, let me make this very clear, especially students of class 11, that Tempest is far more deep than the MOV. MOV was just like a light-hearted comedy, right? Largely a romantic comedy. Tempest is much more deep, and that's because there were 15 years between the writing of MOV and the writing of Tempest. So Shakespeare obviously was a more mature writer, a more mature playwright by the time he wrote the Tempest. Isliye Tempest is much more deep. The kind of themes that you are expected to know about are also much more philosophical. The themes of revenge, the themes of repentance, the theme of friendship, the master-slave relationship, the theme of colonization, right? All this come into play in the Tempest. MOV mein aisa kuch nahi tha. It was more of character analysis, right? Now, let me first talk about the MCQ based question paper for ISC class 12 first. Okay. Now, many students may think that this is going to be very easy. MCQ will make our job very easy because you don't have to write character analysis of a Prospero, of a Miranda, of a Alonso, of a Ferdinand, or Caliban, Ariel, etc. My friends, you would be making a mistake if you think that life is going to be easy, because now what happens is that earlier, I know it for a fact that some students would do only particular scenes like the banquet scene, right? Like whatever unfolds later on in the repentance scene, forgiveness scene in Act 5, etc. And think that, okay, one passage will come out of here, we'll manage and do some character analysis and thematic analysis, and we will be good to go. In MCQ, what will happen is that the person who is setting the paper, he or she gets a liberty to give you options from just about anywhere. Anywhere in Act 3, the options can be given in order to confuse you, right? And that is what you need to be very wary about. You may think it's only Act 3, fine. But even within Act 3, there are 3 different kinds of scenes, if you recall. The Ferdinand and Miranda romance scene, the Caliban Stefano Trinculo plot scene, and later on the complicated banquet scene and the big speech by Ariel, right? So there are lots of factors where you could actually be tested very closely. So what you need to now know is to know each and every word, every nuance, every phrase. Everything will come into play, and that will mean that you will need to read the Tempest much more thoroughly than you would normally do. Okay, that is going to be the one big difference between before and now in the way you approach the Tempest. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you. So Tempest will demand more thoroughness of preparation from you than it was for a general paper, the way it was in the past. Please do not understand Tempest as a summary. If you think that just reading a summary of the Tempest will do and you will do well in the MCQ based question paper, sorry to disappoint you, you will not. It will not work. You need to understand it completely line by line, passage by passage. So keywords earlier were very important in order to be quoted. Now the same keywords could be used in order to test you in the MCQ format. Okay, so that's something which you need to keep in mind. What about class 11 and the semester 2 in March, April 2022? Now, as I said, you need to know all the themes, the character analysis of all these important characters in the play. You need to have the same kind of approach of knowing it more thorough. In fact, the MCQ based format will train you to actually deal with it in a more thorough manner, and actually I think it's a good practice ahead of the semester 2 examinations. Now that's what we are doing on the 2 Tempest courses that we have launched on the Study with Sudhir app for class 11 and class 12, is what we are dealing with it in both MCQ format and the long format. For instance, we have started giving the MCQ based questions for Act 3 Scene 1 I have already put. Scene 2 and Scene 3 will also be put, and then we will do it all together, and that is what will make it tricky. Do not expect that Act 3 Scene 1 ka koi question hai, so you will get options only from that scene. No, it will not happen. An intelligent examiner will always try to throw a googly at you by giving you options in a jumbled up manner, right? And of course, when we are dealing with like we have done Act 1, Act 3, Act 4 completely on the app, and it is a much more thorough kind of explanation than what we did on YouTube last year. We are also giving notes. We are also going to give character analysis, question and answers, thematic analysis, question and answers, all after the 5 scenes acts are done, and also MCQ based questions now and question and answers right now. The basic question and answers of every scene are being given right now in the form of PDF notes, and a lot of detailing which is done in the videos itself in order to ensure that you understand it very well. Ek baari sun lo, go to the notes, revise it, look at the question and answers after a couple of days, come back to the video. If you have not understood, there will be some words you may not be able to understand. Look at the notes for reference, look at the question and answer, and make it ensure that you are able to understand it completely. Tempest, pretty much like the Merchant of Venice, you will need to revise it several times. It's not an easy play. It's a complex play. I would not call it complicated. It's a complex play, and you need to give it the respect and the time it actually deserves. Okay, for 12th class, I know it's not easy, which is why it's very important for 11th class students to actually do off their 3 acts very well, so that you will find it easier next year when you go to class 12. Okay, so that's as far as the Tempest is concerned and the approach you should have, which I wanted to highlight as far as ISC class 11 and class 12 are concerned. Thank you very much.